Hey all, DisThunder. Today we're going to do another Mezco review. This one's going to come from the Rumble Society, kind of. Really comes from the Mobsters Inc. line. This would be the 112 Collective, Franky Foreman, a.k.a. Franky Sparks, a.k.a. the Grim Reaper. Mobsters Inc. is actually a fun little subline that came out around the same time as Mezco did, like the Goon figures, which puts it about 2003. There were 3 figures in the wave: Franky, Giovanni, and Patrick. Giovanni was the Dawn, and Patrick was the Muscle, and then Franky was the hired gun. And they're pretty fun, actually, and that's a very cool subline that they could probably very easily work into 112 because there's only 3 characters, but they are a perfect fit now for our Golden Age DC characters and our Dick Tracy figures. So this is a cool throwback, and I think it's a welcome addition, and it fits the line perfectly. From Mezco, we get a kind of short bio on this on the website. Franky is an enforcer for Don Giovanni, the boss, and he assists with running the bootleg and protection rackets. Very, very deadly with the Thompson, the M1921 in particular, and also pretty handy with a knife as well as various small arms like his 1911 pistol and his nondescript kind of large frame revolver. We'll get into that stuff, we'll say in the back third of the video here, because a lot of this is accessories that we've seen previously, but they make sense for what we're doing here with Mobsters Inc. And for what it's worth, Mezco's now done 3 variations of the Thompson. They're all very similar, but they did go for a new one. The 1921, which came with, I think, Doc Knock, got the M1928 that came with Dick Tracy, and now we've got a 1921 with the takedown that you can put in the violin case. And that came with flat top, if I remember right. A couple things to note on this guy that are just, well, they're noteworthy, that's why we're going to note them. It comes with 3 head sculpts, and I think these are a really neat update to the original 03 style head sculpts. They still have that kind of caricature, probably the best way to put it, style to them. They're not super cartoony, but they're also exaggerated and not realistic. So, of course, they fit great with Dick Tracy, and even to an extent with the Golden Age Batman and Robin figures that we have. He comes with firing effects, most we've seen before, but he does have the smoking barrel effect, which I like. In particular, though, are these smoking cigarette effects. This is not the first set of cigarettes, obviously, with Mezco. There's definitely a lot of smokers in the 112 Collective. But these and the included hands and the interaction with the kind of pursed lip head sculpt, I don't know, there's something kind of special about it. Again, it breeds in sort of realism to a design that's kind of cartoony, and it kind of blurs that line. So they're very stylish, I think is the best way to put it. And that stylishness kind of lends itself to jumping into different parts of your collection if you don't just want to have a couple of mobsters on yourself on their own. Going into the articulation, it's going to be about what you expect, but it's also very nicely done, not unlike how nicely done his this 3-piece suit is. Open up, you see you've got a little bit of a jacket liner in there. Doesn't go down the sleeves. You can see the holster, that's the same that came with Dick Tracy, but it's also a nice inclusion. We have the usual ball-jointed shoulder, those 2, but a ball-jointed neck, double-jointed ball at the top, and then a secondary ball joint underneath the collar of the shirt there. Back to those shoulders, yes, it is a ball-jointed shoulder. There are no butterflies. That seems to be something they've kind of moved away from in these suit guys. Still allows for just past the T-pose with the jacket on, which is not too bad. There is a bicep swivel, of course, and a double-jointed elbow, which actually does really well with the coat, and the usual Mezco ball-jointed wrist. Now, with the jacket on, it's kind of hard to get his arms straight down to his sides. With the jacket off, though, it's not really a problem. It's just enough material kind of under his arm just to limit that somewhat. Underneath that nice vest, though, we do have the usual double-jointed abdominal joint system. You've got a top swivel and a bottom swivel, and allows for a decent range forward and back. And actually impressed at how well the suit kind of conceals and works with that articulation. You have a waist swivel, of course, as well, and a ball-jointed hip, and a double-jointed knee. Moves a little like that. Actually, this was better than I expected. This is a pretty solid range of motion there. And then, of course, a ball-joint swivel ankle. What am I forgetting? Oh, there is, of course, a thigh swivel in there as well. So it's pretty standard fare, but it all works very well, and even for a guy in a suit, it's pretty manageable. Let's go ahead and jump into some comparisons, because I found this guy's a bit taller than I was expecting. Here he is with Dick Tracy, and as you can see, he's actually pretty close, same body, although, well, I'm not 100% on that, if I'm being honest. I always felt like Dick Tracy was a bigger suit body. Regardless, he's a bit taller than Dick Tracy. Most of that is in the head sculpt. It's more of an elongated sculpt. But in keeping with the Dick Tracy villains, that's not really out of character. So I think that still would work fine for a Dick Tracy setup. Here he is with the Golden Age Batman, just with the old DC Direct New Frontiers head, because I just really always like that head sculpt. And as you can see, the suit body itself is a bit bigger than the Batman base body. Again, not necessarily a deal breaker, it's just a trend in that kind of upscaling we've seen more of lately with the newer figures. Here he is with the Dick Tracy Rogues Gallery, which is a surprisingly fast-growing subset. And if I had to give you a guess on what the base body is or who it shares with, it's got to be Prune Face. As you can see in the lineup here, even the head sculpts are comparable in height, so he's about a 1-to-1 with that figure. If that helps you kind of figure out where he fits in scale-wise, that's probably your best bet. Here he is with Supreme Knight Batman, who is still broader and more muscular, but I say even with the hat off, Franky is just a little bit taller than he is. So take from that what you will. Definitely taller than the blank, but you knew that already because he's kind of an odd, kind of short, stocky figure as it is. But I kind of like the variety this has created. As I said before, Franky makes use of a lot of recycled accessories, but they're all recycled accessories that make a lot of sense. For example, he comes with several stacks of money and a bank money bag to put them in. And while we have seen these before, they're still excellent, and the detail on the dollar bills especially is still really impressive. Likewise for the M1921 Thompson and its violin case that it can break down into. Same as flat top, exact same. Take the buttstock off, take the foregrip off, and the magazine, and it all fits in their appropriate positions inside the case. I don't know if I mentioned his pack of smokes, but that, I think, is a new sculpt that's different than the ones that came with Junkyard Joe. And then, as I mentioned before, there is a smoking barrel effect that can go in the barrel of the Thompson or either of his handguns. And, that combined with his smoking cigarette effects, they make for some very atmospheric poses. That especially when it comes paired with the appropriate hands for him to hold the cigarette when it's up to his mouth, or when you can just hold it in his hand, and it looks really good that way too. So very expressive for kind of a nonchalant figure, I guess, would be the best way to put it. So because this is a lot of stuff that I've gone over before, and there's not anything other than, some head sculpts and a very nice striped suit that we haven't seen before. Hell, we've seen plenty of suits at Mezco at this point. I can kind of keep this review a little bit on the brief side. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a damn cool figure, and bringing back the Gangsters Inc. line is a damn cool idea. So if this interests you at all, I think he's on the wait list. Obviously, just pop on over to Mezco Toys and put your name on there. I think you will not be disappointed if you get him. Hopefully, we'll see his partners in crime follow him shortly, too. So thank you to Mezco Toys for sending him along to take a look. And thanks to you guys, I will see you again very soon here for another review.